Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Yours truly, Solomon Wilcots. Today, we have a very special guest. That's right. You want to stick around because Cincinnati Bengals four-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. is going to join us right here on the Bleav in Bengal podcast. It's going to be great to have him on the show. But first, let me tell you about Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform with your number one source for betting on everything when it comes to football and especially NFL football. Of course, Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, every live odd and spread during all the games. Of course, you can get in on the $200,000 mega contest at the Pick 5 against the spread every single week for a chance to win the $200,000 prize. Bet Online, that's where the game starts. It starts right here. All right. Cincinnati Bengals are 3-4 after 7 games. We're about to approach the halfway point of the season. Now, get this. If the Cincinnati Bengals can check in at 4-4, 8 games through the season, would you take it? I mean, if someone would have told you after the Patriots game, hey, we're going to be 4-4 at the halfway point, you probably wouldn't be in love with it, but you wouldn't hate it either, because that's what we have a chance to do. And we're going to talk more about that, because right now I'm very happy and ecstatic with what we're getting from our special teams. Charlie Jones, it's like he gave this team a shot in the arm in a game up in Cleveland where it's been hard for the Bengals to win a game in Cleveland or against the Cleveland Browns, period. But when Charlie Jones set sail on that 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, I think our spirits all lifted. We all felt so much better. And even though our offense didn't light it up, what we love about the offense, they didn't turn it over. Joe Burrow is exceptional when he's not quite getting good reads from the defense, and that Cleveland Brown defense is tough. They are a very tough group to get a beat on and read out the coverages, and they don't give you time to do that because their pass rush is so good. Joe Burrow is very smart. He'll hold on to the ball if he has to, because he's not going to just chuck and duck it. He's not going to just throw the ball and put it in harm's way and risk an interception or a turnover, because those are the things that get you beat quick. When you're playing on the road in front of a hostile crowd with a really good defense on the field, your job is to survive. And as Peyton Manning once told me, it's not a bad idea to punt it, okay, if you have to. What really is bad is if you put the ball in harm's way and you turn it over. So that's why you saw Joe Burrow willing to live with a sack here or a sack there until, of course, he was able to get the ball to Jamar Chase on an 18-yard touchdown, until he was able to get the ball to T. Higgins on a 25-yard touchdown. And you and I both know that's what broke the game wide open. The Cleveland Browns, despite their trouble and despite all the problems they're having, every team across this league will tell you they have one of the best defenses you're ever going to face, because they have a Myles Garrett who can get pressure coming off the edge. They have one of the top-rated corners in Denzel Ward that you're ever going to find in an NFL secondary. And when you have a defense like that, it's going to make it tough sledding on the road when you're playing up against defenses like that. Look, the offense had its struggle. I think they're about to get back on track. It's going to be okay. And I think it's going to happen because we're playing at home. We'll be comfortable. Think about it. Cincinnati Bengals went on the road and there are 2 wins. In fact, all 3 wins have come on the road, at the Carolina Panthers, at the New York Giants, and then again last week within the division, the AFC North, winning on the road in Cleveland is not easy. All right, everyone. Hey, take a look at the nice lid that we have here. This is called a melon hat. That's right, M-E-L-I-N. I love the hats because they're made from some of the most durable material. These hats are meant to last 5 times longer. All you got to do is go to the website at melon.com, MELIN.com, to get your melon hat. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. I'm Solomon Wilcots, and of course, today we're joined by Cincinnati Bengals 4-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle Orlando Brown Jr. Oh, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. You know, it's always great to come out of a Sunday with a win, especially a divisional win. Man, the energy's been good around the building. I'm feeling good.
Well, that's good news for Bengals fans, man, because we were kind of worried. But it's good to know that you're feeling ready, you're feeling good for next week. And we got to start by going back to that game in Cleveland. You guys end up getting the win, 21-14, checking in at 3-4. I'm feeling much better right now. I know you guys are feeling a whole lot better. Why is it so hard to get these wins in the AFC North division?
Yeah, it's such a competitive division for so many reasons, man. I think you got to look at some of these front offices within the division. It seems like Pittsburgh has been intact forever. Baltimore's been intact forever. Yeah. We know Cleveland. We know what Cincinnati and everything, how we have a family-ran organization that's been intact. Yeah. I think it starts there and then trickles on down in the coaching. You look at Coach Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin, Zach Taylor, and Stefanski up there in Cleveland, man. I mean, four great coaches, four really good coaches. All of them, I mean, I guess pretty much for the most part, outside of Stefanski's been in a Super Bowl-like situation. And you go to the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? And we know about Lamar, Russ Wilson, how he just played last Sunday, Joe Burrow, you know what I mean? Now, Cleveland will have their things to figure out at that position. But all of that stuff goes hand in hand, man. And it's just always been such a competitive division. I mean, there's so many good players, great ownership, good coaches. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, you can't take anything for granted in this division when you guys are playing against one another. What did it feel like for you guys before you ever took the field? Charlie Jones set sail on a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. What did that mean for the team? What kind of boost did it give you guys?
I mean, that's a really good feeling, man. It's nothing like being able to score points and not having an offense on the field, whether that be a special teams return, a defensive return for a touchdown, whatever it is. When you're scoring points and the offense isn't on the field, it's always a good feeling, man. We were super excited for Charlie. He's earned that opportunity. I've been telling him for the last 3 weeks that it's coming soon, and sure enough, he was able to pop one.
Oh, man, he showed the speed, too, and some determination to get it in there. Tell me about this offense. You guys had a 4-game stretch. When you guys were clicking, you were as hot as anybody. I think you were averaging about 32 points a game over a 4-game stretch. And then over the last 2 games, things have kind of cooled a little bit. What's been the difference for the offense in your mind?
Yeah, man, I think you'll start to see us eventually get in that groove, that groove. We were hot, extremely hot there for a second. I do feel like, we cooled off, but man, still at the same time, it's kind of what these defenses have been giving us. It hasn't allowed us to take too many large opportunities and be extremely explosive. Joe's having to, kind of take what the defense gives him. That's why you're seeing Zach Moss have so many catches out the backfield. You're seeing T and Jamar get the ball within the first two seconds of the snap and being able to make some guys miss and turn a 6-yard catch into a 24-yard gain. I think it's really just comes down to what defenses have been giving us.
Look, I could tell you right now, I'm ecstatic about the way the offensive line is playing. And you're one of the leaders on this offensive line that is playing at a very high level. I think you guys are playing great together. Why has it all finally come together for you guys? I know you had some movement over at the other side, and now Amarius Mims, the rookie in there, did a pretty good job in Cleveland. Why is it starting to click for you guys right now?
Yeah, man, I think it starts with Frank Pollock. That's our rock, the guy that keeps our room together. He does the way that he stays on us, motivates everyone in the room to do their job, coaches us to be great and continue to master the mundane things, man, and keeping it simple is so important. Starts with him. From there, I feel like our leadership and myself and Ted, what we've brought to the table, and just, a group of guys that loves playing for each other, man, that wants to play for each other, that's understanding of the system, the snap count, what's being asked of us as individuals and in totality. Everything's clicking. And, I'll tell you this at offensive line play, when receivers are beating coverages right away and getting open, when Joe's getting the ball out and taking what the defense gives them, when we're able to run the ball when we need to run the ball, everything else takes care of itself. It makes our job so much easier, man. So as much as I want to give all of us the credit, I think in total, man, it's everything that goes hand in hand.
And what I love about you guys is there's no finger pointing. And what I mean by that is because when I'm watching these games, and I love the way Joe Burrow plays quarterback, because I think he plays with a level where he's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to give it to the other team. And in some ways, he'll take a sack
Yeah.
And all sacks are not always on the offensive line. I think for a lot of people, they think, it's the offensive line. No, I think it's about smart play because there are a lot of things, as you well know, that's worse than that. And if you're trying to throw it and you put the ball in harm's way, that's the worst case scenario. And I think Joe Burrow is very good at protecting the ball. He'll take a sack over throwing an interception. And I know that's not utopia. That's not the best world to live in, but it ain't pretty bad one either, right?
Yeah. I think, across the league, man, everybody kind of knows when 9 gets in those situations, those 3rd and longs or a 2nd and long, he's looking to press, he's looking to make the big play or maybe extend it a little bit. And sometimes, he may end up getting sacked trying to escape the pocket. I think about the play against the Giants on 3rd down, Dexter Lawrence's sack, or guys that kept him clean all day. And he was looking to extend. Dexter Lawrence reaches his arm out and a foot sack, a shoestring sack. But
that's right.
Exactly as you mentioned, man. I mean, I think it just kind of comes down to that kind of stuff. So we're going to keep blocking as long as we can and keeping guys off of them.
You guys do a really good job. I think you should be commended with the job that you guys are doing currently. Look, big contest coming up this week. You guys are 3-4. You get to the halfway point. If you can get this game this week, Week 8 against the Philadelphia Eagles, you're sitting there at 4-4, and nobody's remembering what happened in September, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's normally how it goes, man. As you know, man, football is a 60-minute ball game. Mm-hmm. I guess for us now, it's a 17-game season, regular season. Yeah. And honestly, I personally don't think, man, we want to be able to win these games now to give ourselves the best opportunity come January to get in the playoffs. And we understand that when we get there, we're going to be the hottest team in football. And so that's always been the mindset here. There's not to take away from the sense of urgency that we have, but the understanding, man, that, we'll peak at the right time.
You've been on teams that have a championship pedigree. And this team, I think the one thing that I'm coming away with every single week, particularly during some of those tough weeks in September, is that there's no infighting. There's no finger pointing. What can you say about that? And in what way is that a positive sign for this football team?
Yeah, that's the kind of character we have is guys that want it, guys that love the game of football, that really want it, that are selfless, that, are willing to go do their job, by any means, man. And, when you've got guys like Sam Hubbard who will not only get after the passer, will stick his nose in there for the runs, will tip a pass. You've got football players like Jermaine Pratt who are sideline to sideline, putting his body on the line. I think about obviously Trey Hendrickson and even the growth that he's made this year in terms of his physicality, week to week, Sunday to Sunday, man. When you've got guys like that on defense and period on a team with that type of commitment, the type of character we have, and we have a good understanding, man, that everybody wants to and everybody will.
What is it like practicing against a Trey Hendrickson and a Sam Hubbard? Because these guys seem to have a motor that doesn't stop. They have a battery. And I know what it's like when you're practicing against guys that you already know that when you're going up against those guys in practice, they're going to give you that work.
Yeah, no, man. I love it. I love it personally. Yeah. It gets me ready for Sundays, man. Being able to practice at a high level. I remember Coach Dan Pitcher, our OC, made a comment to the media about me having the most live reps of anybody on the team going against Trey all training camp. And I couldn't agree more. It's so physical. It's extremely fast. It's game-like reps. And man, when you're competing like that on a day-to-day basis in July and August, it pays off come September.
There were some of those games earlier that the offense was cooking and the defense was still kind of getting it together. Over the last couple of weeks, the defense seemed to have really started to come. You could see the pieces for this team all coming together. In your mind, Orlando, what are those pieces? What are you seeing with this team where everything appears right now to be coming together at the right time?
Yeah, man. It's unfortunate because sometimes in today's NFL, it's easy to be super critical with the accessibility, the stats, and Twitter and the socials and all these things. And man, honestly, man, defensively, I feel like here and there we've been a play away in certain situations, even though in some of those games that we lost might have been by 2 points, 3 points a score. We've been really close. I think kind of what you've seen come on, man, is just everyone settling in, everyone being comfortable. Finally our defensive line depth is getting back intact with Miles Murphy being to come back, Sheldon Rankins being able to come back. We were missing those two. BJ Hill was out for a little bit. We hadn't had our full group. And so now you're able to see our full group healthy, even with some of our top backups healthy as well. I think all of those things kind of go hand in hand, man. And you're seeing our DB settle in as well.
Man, I got to tell you, the work that you guys do against Myles Garrett, I really do believe he and TJ Watt, if you're an offensive tackle in the AFC North division, you got your work cut out. And you guys brought it, man, on Sunday. Going to Cleveland and winning a game, that's not easy in this league. So we want to just thank you guys for giving it a good fight. And Cincinnati Bengal fans are elated that you guys came back with a win. One last question before we let you go, because Halloween's just around the corner. You got to tell us what you're dressing up as this year. You're putting on a costume this year, man?
I don't know if I'll be putting on a costume, man. I know my son will be a vampire this year. He said he wants to be a vampire for Halloween, so he's going to be a vampire. I don't know what I'll be. Yeah. I got a Spider-Man mask around here somewhere, so I might just slide that on with a hoodie.
A vampire, that's always cool because you could tell the little guy, vampires have always been like a ladies' man. They're kind of cool. So that is not a bad choice for the little fella.
Absolutely. I already let him know.
Hey, well, we appreciate you, man. Thank you for stopping by to join us right here in the Bleav in Bengal podcast. We appreciate the work you do. We appreciate everything you're doing in the community. Keep playing well, and we'll catch up with you again sometime soon, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. That is Orlando Brown Jr., four-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle. We'll be back with more right here on the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Welcome back to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Solomon Wilcots here. It's time now to talk about the performer of the week against the Cincinnati Bengals. And, of course, this segment is brought to you by French Creek Roofing, Greater Cincinnati's choice for roofing right here in Cincinnati. And, of course, the performer of the week is Trey Hendrickson. What more can you say about Trey Hendrickson? This is a try-hard guy that fights his tail off to get to the quarterback on every single play. They have to hold him just to keep him from getting to the quarterback. You love the way that he continues to work, the effort that he gives. Is there anyone who wants to win a game better and more than, say, Trey Hendrickson? Is there anyone who want to get to the quarterback more than Trey Hendrickson? He reminds me of my good teammate, Tim Crumrine. He's the guy that's that emotional leader that inspires everybody else in the huddle. And boy, did he play one heck of a game against the Cleveland Browns. He had 2 sacks, 9 total pressures, 5 hurries, and he had a winning percentage of 27% win rate when it came to pass rush and getting to the quarterback. He's forcing the quarterback to get rid of the ball sooner. He's hit hurrying and harassing the quarterback continuously. So, Trey Hendrickson, you are our performer of the week right here on the Bleav in Bengal podcast. All right, everybody, that's right. I got to tell you about this wonderful wellness drink. It's not a sports drink. It's very low in sugar. In fact, it has no sugar in all. It has very high levels of antioxidants to help your body sleep well. It even has some elements of melatonin, but it makes you sleep better, makes you feel better. And it's used by over 500 sports clubs around the world, including in South America and in Brazil. So don't forget to get Cheribundi. You can go to the website at cheribundi.com. That's CHERIBUNDI.com to get your drink today. Welcome back to the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Right now, it's time for our look ahead segment to week 8. But of course, this segment is brought to you by Midwest Hospice. And if you're dealing with the final days of a loved one, you should call the people at Midwest Hospice. They've been servicing Cincinnati for over the last decade. Okay, as we look ahead to the week 8 game for the Cincinnati Bengals, that game will be against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles come to Paycor Stadium with what I call a secret weapon. And that secret weapon is named Saquon Barkley. Oh, if you just go back and look at what he did to the New York Giants, his former team where he had played, he just decimated that team. 176 rushing yards was the most given up by the New York Giants so far this year. In all, that's right, in all, the Eagles would rush for 269 yards on the day on 45 rushing attempts. So the Eagles come in here with the ability to run the football. And they come in here with one of the arguably the best running backs in the National Football League in Saquon Barkley. Let's hope that he let most of the steam loose when he went up against his former teammates last week in New York at MetLife Stadium. Because if the Eagles can run the ball, it's going to be a long day. Our defense is going to have the work cut out because we also have to stop two talented wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Now, the Eagles are one of those rare teams, just like the Cincinnati Bengals, who are paying a quarterback, $50 million and two wide receivers that are making one $30 million in A.J. Brown and $20+ million for Devontae Smith. That has nothing to do with what we're going to see on the field. This is a very talented team. And oh, by the way, Jalen Hurts is part of that quarterback draft class that was selected the same year that the Cincinnati Bengals took Joe Burrow with the first overall pick in the 2020 draft. This is one of the best quarterback draft classes our game has seen. Of course, we know it was about Joe Burrow. It's about Tua Tagovailoa. It's about Justin Herbert with the LA Chargers. But also taking in that draft was, of course, in the second round, Jalen Hurts. And then later in the first round, that's right, Jordan Love. So you got 5 of these quarterbacks that are all playing at a high level. Tua is expected to come back week 8 from the NFL concussion protocol. But when on top of their games, all 5 guys have proven that they can play at a high level. And that's what our Cincinnati Bengals defense is facing this week. Our offense is facing an Eagles defense that had, count them, 8 sacks against the New York Giants last Sunday. That's right. This Philadelphia Eagles defense is good enough to haul in 8 sacks in one game against Daniel Jones and the Giants. They had 5 sacks in the first half. So our offensive line has their work cut out. Our defense has their work cut out. We're going to have to bring it. The Cincinnati Bengals, 1 game away. Think about how important this game is. 1 game away from getting back to 500, where we'll be 4-4 at the halfway point. I know there's kind of like 9 and 8, right? In terms of half a season, there's 17 games to the regular season. So really, nine games is about the halfway point. But if we can go 4-4, 8 games into the season, I think that would be phenomenal. And I think it would help us to get our rhythm back. There's still a glimmer of hope for this team to get into the playoffs. So continue to root, continue to cheer, continue to show up at Paycor Stadium this Sunday when our Bengals take on the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be a heavy-hitting game. It's going to be really star-studded because the Eagles bring their star, and, of course, Cincinnati Bengals. I love the way that T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are starting to take flight. We are going to need all hands on deck to win this game. So thank you for stopping by the Bleav in Bengal podcast. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, everyone.